Inside this box, I have the brand new Vini Jr. Signature Nike Mercurials. And what's most interesting here is that I think they are better than the regular release Mercurial. There's a few tweaks and changes that make me a lot happier with these than I am with these. But there's also one thing that's worse. So let's get them out of the box, have a look, and break down what's going on. First, we should take a look at the box because we've got this really nice custom box. It's matte black with the fade swoosh here. You've got Vini Fly in the Nike text just here. On the end, got my size label. So these are the Vapor 16 Elite. You're gonna wanna pay attention to this size label a little bit. And this is a 26 centimeter UK 7, US 8. And then we've got that same swoosh fade here, but this is fading into the green as opposed to the red. We will see why in a second when we get the boots out. And the Vini Jr. logo on this side, which I really, really like. I think he's got an excellent logo. The boots themselves, we can get them out of the box. You of course get a string bag, and the string bag has again that fade swoosh. This is the red fade, and the matte and gloss fly Vini that's on the box and on the boots printed all over one side. Then on the other side, we've got that same Vini Fly messaging with the all black. The Vini Fly comes about mainly because of Nike's marketing, of course, but the piece of marketing they did, I'm actually really impressed with. I really like the marketing where it's Vini Jr. as like a captain on a plane, and he's in the middle of the aisle doing kick-ups and stuff. It's a little bit goofy, but I kind of love it. I love the effort that went into the marketing for this particular boot. I just think that brands doing that, particularly with signature boots, is absolutely key. Go and make me a little bit more excited for them. Give me a little bit better look at the player. Anyway, I think the marketing campaign for this was really, really good, aside from the fact that it obviously got lost in the big hypervenom news. So that's the only downside. Anyway, to the boots again. So you get white paper. So usually you get like a nice little custom Nike or custom Vini Jr. paper, just white. I don't care, but worth mentioning, I think. And then we have the boots themselves. So there's one and two. If you're this far into the video, please do consider supporting us, firstly by hitting the like button and getting subscribed, and also potentially by becoming a Boot Wizard member, getting early access to all of my videos, including videos like this, members exclusive live streams, and huge discounts on grip socks that nobody else in the world can offer. It really helps support the channel, keeps us going, and means that we can keep bringing you content like this. You can also support us by using the links down the top pinned comment to buy your pair of Vini Jr. boots or any boots that you might happen to want to pick up. Thanks a lot for supporting, and on with the video. We will get to the differences with these in just a second, but let's take a look at the boots themselves. So one side, the medial side, you've got this very Brazil-inspired green and yellow fade. The whole boot is Brazil inspired, and then the other side you've got the red to yellow fade, so it's very much a half and half boot. I really like that. I think that's a really cool idea. The only thing I would have preferred is I would have preferred one boot to be this and one boot to be this, and I think that would have been awesome, but alas, 'tis not, and I quite like this. The green and kind of yellow fade fades onto the sole plate on this side, the red fades onto the sole plate on this side, and then they both blend together as you come towards the front of the boot. And I think that's really nicely put together, really well thought out, and this particular chrome sole plate is fantastic. I'm not a huge fan of chrome sole plates generally. I don't like that they obviously wear off. I don't think they're unnecessary, potential obviously ramifications for the environment. We don't need chrome sole plates, but this is really, really nice. It does look really fantastic in this matte chrome. It is exactly the same outsole as you're gonna get on the regular release version just here. So FG, don't wear it on AG, really nice looking sole plate. As for the rest of the boot, we've got the Fly Vini down the back as well. This is slightly raised off the boot. I might have a small concern that that might come off over time, but it does look and feel really premium. And then you've got the big swooshes down the side. I love this big side swoosh that drops off onto the sole plate, the same way that, for example, the Vapor 13 did. I think this looks fantastic, and I think it really helps the overall aesthetic compared to this swoosh here. I think following this line, this switch between the atom knit and the grip knit, and having a big swoosh here as opposed to this toe swoosh really helps the overall aesthetic of the boot, and I much prefer it. Would love to see more of this going forwards. I've got the little Vini Jr. logo on the top. This is like a little kind of rubber addition, so it's pressed on again. Looks like it's pretty good, should stay on quite nicely. And then on the insole, we've got the same Vini Fly Mercurial insole. I don't love the quality of the insole on any of the Mercurials, and this one is fundamentally the same, but it does feel a little bit more kind of tacky and grippy on the bottom when compared to my other pair, and you can even see they are different between the two, where this is a much rougher texture and this is smoother. It feels a little bit grippy, so they've definitely changed the foam between the two insoles anyway. So let's talk about the main thing that is good and different from these and why I think it is different, and then we will talk about the bad. So, if I put these two boots side by side, I might try and stack these up a little bit for you. I'm just gonna stack them up on this random book, just so you can see them on the screen. I'm gonna put my Vini Juniors in front of my regular release colorway, okay? And I'm hoping that if I hold that steady enough, you can see that the Vini Jr. is lower profile. There is less volume through this boot, particularly in the toe box area here. You can see that there is much more volume through the toe box on the regular colorway. I'll put them up on the above camera and hopefully try and show you the same thing. So you can see that we've got a lower profile, more tapered look through the toe in comparison to this one here. And overall, the boot just looks more streamlined top to bottom through this area. Now I know that this one's also been worn, but you can see that there's like an element of shaping here where it's not quite right as well. It kind of like is indented. This has always been there in the boots, and it's the same on this side. I don't have that on the Vini Juniors. This is a smooth transition. It is a much better shape overall. Now, you will expect some change over time as this softens in from being worn, but I haven't even worn this pair that much. I have another pair of AG that I'm wearing way more than these. These have only been worn, I'd say, an hour, maybe two, and it's different, significantly so. I think you can also see, if I put these down like this, that's probably the best angle. I'm really hoping you can see that. I'm gonna find something to stack these up on. 1 second. Random fruit box. If I put them like that, you can also see, I think, very clearly, not just the height in the toe box, but the fact that it is more lifted on this particular model compared to this one. This one runs flatter. Look at the different heights of these front studs. Look where this one is. Let's spin them around, see what I'm seeing. Look where this one is compared to this one. There is a big enough difference there, and this should give you a great look at that volume difference as well. I will even tighten the laces just to prove my point a little further here. Okay, laces adequately tightened, and you can still see the increased volume, the change in shaping here, the more structured build here. And on feet, while it's not a huge difference, you can feel a difference in the toe box overall, in my opinion. So why is this? Because I think the Vini Jr. build here, the quality is higher, it makes a lot more sense, it looks a lot more streamlined. I just think this is better. Have Nike made what's known as a running change to the Mercurial, where we're going to see this going forwards? I don't think so. I think what we have here is a very classic case of made in Bosnia boots. Now, if you don't know, this is something that a lot of people are aware of with Nike. Nike have multiple factories where a lot of their boots are made, one of them being in Bosnia, and a lot of their other stuff coming out of, for example, China. Now, there are different quality control regulations at all of Nike's different factories, and the Bosnia one seems to have a much lower tolerance for what they will accept and put out. So they will make sure that the boot is of a higher quality standard, it has more stringent quality control than some of the other factories. So what you find is, for example, I would assume, this is guesswork, that these have not been left on the last, for as long as these. And that is what has caused this shape difference. Now, there may be more to it than that, especially considering the uplift on this boot that's not on this boot, but I would still argue that the majority of it is going to come down to quality control. And you can start to just look through both boots and you can see the build quality on the Vini Juniors just seems higher. Everything from this transition from atom knit to grip knit, it all just seems of a much higher quality. So not only is the shape a little bit better, shape makes a little bit more sense, it's not quite as high volume, which is something I criticized on these. I think overall, you've just simply got a better built football boot, all because it was made out of a factory with better quality control. The alternative, of course, is what I mentioned, which is a running change, a mid-cycle alteration that Nike have made to the boots to improve them. Brands are known to do this, particularly with things like upper materials. They will adjust and tweak things as the life cycle of the boot goes on without really announcing it too much. However, I don't think that's what's happened here, because I think the difference is in shape and last, and it would be very expensive for Nike to develop a new last with just small tweaks for a running change. So I would be very surprised if that was the case. Quick check on softness of upper. Very, very similar, especially considering this one's been used, so no worries there at all. So the additional kind of structure and shape isn't being affected by a stiffer upper. And then if we throw these on the scales just to see if there's anything major between the two, there will be a difference just because of the colorway. But so they're both in exactly the same size, US 8, UK 7, 26 centimeters, which would be what I would normally buy in a Nike boot. And these come in very similar. So these are coming in at 181 grams, and these are coming in at 172, which I will be honest is more than I was expecting when I put them onto the scales, but it's not enough to make any kind of substantial difference to you when you get them on your feet. So I did promise that there was one thing that was worse. So I've gone on about how these are better. So how are they also worse? Well, there's one small issue, and it's definitely not enough to make a big deal out of, but it was noticeable when I got them out of the box in hand. And it is the finish on the upper. So the finish on this upper is fairly matte. So if we take a look at the build of this grip knit upper, you can see that it's in lines that form these triangles or chevrons down the boot. You have a line of essentially a knit and then a line of grip, and they interchange through all the way through the boot. On this boot, the knit area that's not grippy is actually matte, which adds to the overall feeling of being a little bit sticky and a little bit grippy. It almost allows the whole boot to work together a little bit more. On the Vini Juniors, you should be able to see in the light that they have gone with a gloss finish to get something that looks a little bit more shiny. Just a purely aesthetic choice. And I'll be honest, when I first realized that, I wasn't a fan, but it does suit the whole overall look of the boot. But what that does do is it means that that gloss finish doesn't have that matte, almost additional area of stickiness, so you're entirely reliant on these grip lines that are put in that are slightly lower than the gloss ones, and it does make the whole boot feel a little bit less grippy. Now, I haven't been out and played in these, so I can't tell you exactly how much that's going to impact your touch and feel on the ball, especially not over time, but I definitely think it is noticeable in hand that this is not quite as grippy as this. Is it enough for me to say, like, obviously don't buy these, buy these? Absolutely not, especially when you consider that I think the additional quality and the additional shaping and everything on these makes these the more attractive option. So I strongly recommend going out and checking these out. I will leave links down the top in comment and description if you want to buy them, and I will also leave a link just here for my full review of the Mercurial.